Hi, welcome to Cherie's weight loss journey. Oh my God, did y'all get that storm this morning? Yes, it stormed this morning. Thunder and lightning and rain and shoot, probably some people even got a hailstorm. hmm So, anyway, I am so happy, and I had great news last night that my daughter has officially become an initiative and she's registered. Yay! Right? And so I wanted to tell her more about the spirituality of Lemurians, but I don't think she's quite ready for that, right? Because she kind of feels like she's been elevated because she's gotten to the level of the Atlanteans, which I think is great. It's great, but you can't stop there. You just can't. You just can't. And she pretty much lets me know that, she's eager to learn. And I'm like, yes, right? So, after that beautiful, beautiful information, because I have been praying on it, because I wanted her to be initiated into the tribe, right? And so anyway, uh during the morning storm, right, I had a dream that I was up close and personal when somebody was getting disemboweled, I tell you. Oh my gosh, it was like all the guts was spilling out. And I'm like, yeah, well, I guess it happens sometimes when you live in an evil world. Okay, hold on. And to be honest, when I have dreams like that, I wake up tired. I'm like, damn, feel like I've been fighting all night. Could have been in the ethers. Sure could have. Um, so anyway, I try to explain today to the world that astrologers are more or less like philosophers. They like to philosophize about the relativity of the planets and how it affects humans' feelings. And yeah, they get a lot of rebuttal back because there are so many layers to it, right? And so it's kind of like, trying to do a card reading and expecting everybody to understand what's going on, but it's not resonating with everybody. Okay? Because different planetary placements, houses, hemispheres, affect people differently. And there's percentages in the game, right? And then once you get to know a little bit further, you'll start to see that there are, shared rulerships. Yeah. So, a lot of people don't want to deal with it. So they try to find their own way of, making sense of reality, right? And a lot of times it will be based off of definitions, it'll be based off of people's actions. And here's the thing, we all know that people are biased. And we all know that, when people need to or feel the need to, they will lie. Okay? Okay. So, it's 77 degrees out here. I'm telling you, it's hot. I thought it was going to rain because part of me wanted to walk down here to CVS and pick up my medication until I started seeing the clouds start to, trickle in. And I was like, nah, I don't want it to be my bad luck that I and my Snoopy baby get caught out there in the rain. So yeah, I'm on my way to pick up my medication. I am so grateful that I'll have at least another 3 months to live. Woo. And yeah. So yeah. And then there was this other thing where, I just wish, I could send this light code out to all of the women who are influenced by men's of any kind, okay? Father, brother, son, husband, right? That they get a special enlightenment to realize that they will never see you guys equally, okay? Well, at least not yet. That's our goal. Our goal is to get them to realize that if they don't see us as equal, they're going to subject themselves into seeing us as superior to them. It's a choice. It's a choice. It's a choice that they're going to have to make, okay? All right. So, yeah. I am here wanting to pick up my medication. And I think I was down to 1. Yeah, I was down to 1. So, if I had that medication, I usually take my medication when I get woken up 2 or 3, 4 in the morning. Then I go back to sleep. Because at least then I know I'm not going to be eating, drinking, or doing anything that interferes with the absorption of my medication. Makes sense to me. Hi.
Hi, ma'am.
Yes, I am.
The last name, please.
Amore, Amore.
And the first name?
Cherie, Cherie.
And your birthday, ma'am.
5/21/1961.
I have one medication, ma'am, and it's going to be $10.67.
Okay. So yeah. Got my medicine ready? Oh.
Could you please sign this one for me?
Yep. Sure can. Thank you.
Have a good day, ma'am.
Thank you. You too. Okay. Got my medication. Yeah. So the medication that I need to take on a daily basis is levothyroxine. Yes. Interesting enough, I could really close this video out here because what I said was very important. However, the main thing is that if it wasn't for women, there would be no human beings. Every last one of us came through her portal. Okay? So, for you to be ungrateful that somebody would sacrifice their bodies to bring you into this world is despicable. It's despicable. And then the atrocities that you have imposed by oppressing women all around the world, right? One of the things that I was thinking about, how men would basically imprison their women at home and tell them, there's no reason for you to wear any clothes. Just wrap a sheet around you. And she's like, oh, no, I can't show the children, my body. They're like, yeah, but they came from your body. And she was like, no, that's not appropriate. We can't show these youngins our bodies. And he was like, okay, well, wrap yourself up in a sheet, right? And so I'm looking at third world countries, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're still wrapping themselves up in sheets, okay? In literal sheets, right? Because they're not going to weave the clothing. They're not going to weave the cloth that makes the clothing. They're not going to do that, right? They'd rather wear a fig leaf, right? Because, the genitalia that they show is just, it could be inky winky. Don't take it offense, right? But it could look like foreskin if they really draw it up into themselves. Anyway, woo, let me stop before they get mad. They already mad. So I don't care. We don't validate their fucked up feelings. So anyway, I'm sitting up here telling myself, oh my gosh, thankfully Mars has gotten out of Cancer. Yay! Right? Because then I get my Mars return, right? My Mars is in Leo. Woo! Oh yeah. Anyway, my Mars is in Leo, and I'm about to have my Mars return. I'm so happy. I'm so happy for that because, woo! Don't talk to me about war because I'll get excited. Yes. So anyway, then I got excited again, right? I got excited again because I'm about to have my Venus return. And I'm like, what? My Venus is going to return back into Mars? Right. And you can't even imagine Venus. Venus in the first house? Oh, Lord. And I know people already, like I said, astrologers are nothing but philosophers. And sometimes philosophers, instead of being unbiased, a lot of them, not only are biased, but, they do propagate propaganda. So, yeah. Oh, Venus is not typically the love goddess that y'all been dreaming about, right? Venus is like God's juniorette, right? God bore her out of his mind of what a real woman should be like. Strong and beautiful and loving and all of that. Yes. So anyway, yeah, so I'm excited about that. And even more exciting than that, my solar return is about to come. Right? So, yeah. So to me, it would make sense if, astrologers would tell forecasts in like quarters, right? Oh, well, if you're of this quadrant, or if you're of that quadrant, or if you're of another quadrant, then this is how, you're going to be affected by the planetary positions in the sky. Okay? Basically, because the sun, Mars, and Venus always stays within close proximity of each other. They travel our solar system together pretty much all the time. Except when they're going into the retrograde. And then they kind of get away from each other. But they catch up. Period. Like clockwork. So, you could say the same thing happens kind of with Saturn. But Saturn's range and proximities are a lot more distant than the inner planets. Okay? So, I really feel like having a nice little walk, right? Because I didn't do any exercises today. I woke up this morning. I tried my best, to get my mind right and say, do your exercises. So I took my Ghost supplements, my collagen, and my creatine. But I'm like, no, I feel battered. I ain't doing it. I'm like, what do you mean you feel battered? Right? And then my thought went back to, all of the storms and shit that was going on this morning, and then me having dreams of, basically spilling other people's guts. In the ethers, of course. I don't feel bad about it if it happened. However, I can say it did kind of drain me a little bit. It did. It made me feel like, dang, it's time to recuperate for a hot second. But, so this morning, I cut up the salmon that I bought from Albertsons. Thank you, Albertsons, for the free salmon. And I was a little disappointed because I thought I had kind of bought a half of a whole salmon, but they had cut it vertically instead of horizontally. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. So now instead of being able to cook salmon steaks, I had to prepare them so that I can cook various portions of salmon fillet. Okay. But I cooked one today, and it was delicious. I'm gonna tell you. I cooked it and put it in a salad, and right on top of some baby spinach and mixed in some eggs, bacon bits and cheese. Oh my God, it was delicious. And then, of course, I treated myself to some brownie bites. Yeah, brownie bites. Let them eat cakes. I'm gonna eat brownies. Okay. But needless to say, some of my diet was not supposed to be on the menu. It was not supposed to be on the menu, I tell you. So now I'm like, now you're gonna have to, you're gonna have to up your fiber intake to at least 8 grams more, just because you had to eat what you wanted to eat. Like, yeah, I know. And you didn't even do your lightweight exercises, bitch. Almost got into an accident. Thankfully, I got good defensive driving too. Woo! So, yeah, and that was a Lexus too. I bet you they had good insurance. I could have been laid up for good 6 months. But we ain't doing that. So I know it's not just my imagination, but since I don't work at Amazon anymore, my medication went up. So it is what it is. I'm just glad it's not a lot of money. So that's another thing that makes me think about, okay, I got another 3 months to figure out, what I'm going to do about keeping myself in supply of my medication that I need to survive. Don't do it. Dude, don't do it. Just stay your ass right there. I'm telling you, people just, I don't know. It's like, are you in the country? No, you're in the city. These people are not paying attention to you. Don't just cross the street when you feel like it. And that made me think about another thing, right? Where I was out in Sunnyvale, right? And Sunnyvale has all of these little traffic circles. And I've been seeing a lot more of these traffic circles. And I'm like, why are they putting all these traffic circles out, right? Now, they would do that quite a bit in other countries. So I wasn't necessarily understanding why we were doing that in America. And I'm like, oh yeah, it makes sense because people don't have the common sense on looking both ways or being courteous enough to let somebody, make a turn in front of you, right? You know that somebody's, making a turn in front of you, right or wrong. Your first go-to move should be defensive, right? That should be your first go-to move, is avoid an accident, right? Which reminds me of something that my mom used to say, you can be right, but you could also be dead right. Anyway, Anyway, we don't want to be dead right. However, when we die, we want it to be the right time. Okay? Okay. So, another thing that I was watching, and I've been talking about this a lot, right? How the holidays are never the same. Going back home is not the same. And that's partly because of the way that people have abandoned the elderly and the mothers. Okay? Quartzsite is full of women living out of their vans and vehicles. It is. And they are also in other areas. They do not want to force you to feel any kind of way for them. They don't. But when I listen to their heart, when I tap into my Lemurian spirit, my heart says they wish that you had love for them. They wish that you could give them a drop of the nurturing that they had gave to you when they raised you from a baby to you being able to take care of yourself. Okay? And my heart cried, you know, when a lot of these women were talking about how they're estranged from their kids. And I'm like, yeah, you know, I had one of those moments, right? When, you know, I was fighting, you know, serious battles in the ethers and on the 3D, and they just didn't understand what the hell I was going through, right? And but fortunately, you know, I can communicate with my children, although, you know, I will never feel close to them. I won't. Because most of the time, as long as women feel like they have to either choose their man or their mom, which is usually, you know, their family that they grew up in, you know, it's gonna always be hard for them. Because they long to have a family. They long to have, you know, mother and father in the household. And if he's got all of these, you know, conditions and requirements that she has to jump through all of these hoops and shrink herself and, you know, and do all the labor and be the most beautiful girl on the planet and never get old, she gonna try. She gonna try. And I don't blame her for trying, because, you know, sometimes you could be with the guy long enough and he'll actually come to his senses. But most of the time, you know, they don't come to their senses, because they would rather live a life of irresponsibility and unaccountability until they almost, you know, have that health scare or, you know, get, you know, bedridden. You know, it's a shame. It's a shame. The only time that they will calm their ego down is if, you know, Mother Nature and God just smack them down to the ground, stomp on their ass, and tell them, now what? Now what? Good, right? Whereas, you know, I think that's one hell of an ego. I do. I think that's one hell of an ego. It's like, wow, you know, you go through all of that just to prove that you were wrong? Just to say, well, at least I was strong enough to get slammed down by God himself. Like, okay, right? right? Because we all know, shoot, this life is not it unless you really fucked up. Now, if you really fucked up, this could be it for you. This could be the only. This is your last stop. Dead end for you. Dead end for you. Okay, so. We are at the park. We are at the lake. Oh. So at least I'm going to get my walk on. Hopefully sometime between now and tomorrow, I will do my lightweight exercises. Okay? Most of the time I do. You know, even if I only do half of what I normally would do, I would do some. You know, I don't just say, nah, I ain't gonna do none. But if I don't do none, is it really gonna hurt me? Is it really gonna hurt me not to do no lightweight exercises? So yeah, I am going to walk over this way, and I don't know, I might pass by the doggy park, and depending how my dog is behaving, shoo. Anyway, hold on.